My brother mocked my divorce, so I took the one thing he loved most. My name is Emily Carter, I'm 32 years old, and before this story ends, you're going to hear about a betrayal so personal, so bone-deep, that it changed the way I view family forever. It wasn't my ex-husband who hurt me the most. It wasn't the woman he cheated with. It wasn't even the divorce. It was my brother, my only sibling, the boy I grew up with, the man who stood next to me in childhood photos, the one person I thought would protect me when my life fell apart. Instead, he mocked me, humiliated me, turned my heartbreak into a comedy routine. But he forgot something I had known for years. He had a secret so big that once revealed, I could tear away the one thing he loved more than pride, more than family, more than anything in his life. This is not a story about petty revenge. This is a story about awakening, self-respect, boundaries, and justice delivered in a way only life could orchestrate. So sit back, because this story starts long before the divorce. People love to pretend childhood defines everything. In some ways it does. We grew up in the suburbs of Highlands Ranch, Colorado, in a 2-story townhouse with blue shutters and a backyard that felt like a small universe. Our parents, Martin and Linda Carter, were the type of couple that smiled on the outside and argued on the inside. Mark was born 3 years before me. Tall, loud, energetic, dramatic, always the center of attention. And me, quiet, observant, emotional even as a child. The type who cried when a butterfly got trapped in our porch light. Mark and I weren't enemies. We weren't friends either. We were siblings out of circumstance. He was the kid who loved chaos. I was the kid who cleaned up after it. Our childhood wasn't abusive. It was unbalanced. Mark broke things. I apologized for them. Mark teased me. Our parents said I was too sensitive. Mark pushed boundaries. But I was expected to hold the family together. It wasn't obvious back then. But looking back, I can see the early foundation of everything that came later. If you ever met Mark, you'd think he was the funniest person alive. He had that magnetic energy, the kind that fills a room before he even enters. At school, he was the guy who mimicked teachers. At family gatherings, he was the one who did impressions, pranks, loud jokes. People loved him. And he loved being loved. What Mark never learned was the difference between funny and cruel, between playful teasing and deep emotional harm. He wasn't a villain. That's the sad part. He genuinely believed everything was a joke. Until it wasn't. I met Daniel Brooks when I was 26. He walked into my life like a calm breeze. Steady, mature, confident. We met at a software company in Denver, both in the marketing department. He had brown eyes that always looked thoughtful, and a voice that made you want to tell him everything. Our love wasn't instant. It was slow, warm, comfortable. Mark liked him at first, or liked making fun of him more accurately. He called him things like Mr. Corporate Haircut, Mr. Perfect Posture, Daniel the Spreadsheet Man. But Daniel didn't mind. He had a thick skin, or so I thought. We dated 3 years. Married in a small ceremony in Estes Park. Then things slowly changed. Love turned into routine. Routine turned into distance. Distance turned into something darker. I wasn't ready for the truth I found later. And neither was Mark. But his reaction was something I could never have predicted. 2 years into our marriage, I started noticing things. Daniel worked later, answered fewer calls, started avoiding intimacy, not physically only but emotionally. He began saying things like, "I'm just tired. It's a busy quarter. Can we talk later?" Later never came. One night I woke up at 2 a.m. and found him downstairs whispering into his phone. When he noticed me, he jumped like he'd been electrocuted. "Work call," he said. But his voice shook. I knew something was wrong. But I didn't confront him. I was scared. Scared of losing everything. Instead, I buried myself in work, volunteering for projects, taking extra tasks, anything to keep myself from thinking. But deep down, I knew my marriage was slipping through my fingers. It was a Sunday morning. I was doing laundry, half asleep, still wearing pajama pants and an oversized sweater. Daniel had left his laptop on the kitchen island, unlocked. A miracle or a curse, depending on how you look at it. A message popped up on the screen. Heart emoji. A woman's name I didn't recognize. Sabrina Red Heart. My stomach dropped. Click. Hundreds of messages. Late night confessions. Plans to leave eventually. Pictures. Video calls. Every intimate detail I thought belonged to me. I felt like the floor opened beneath me. My marriage wasn't cracked. It was shattered. Daniel came in holding a mug of coffee. His face turned white. Emily, I can explain. But he couldn't. Because everything was already in front of me. The next 48 hours were a blur. Tears, silence, packing bags, sleeping at my friend's place, calling a lawyer, paperwork. I wasn't angry. Not yet. Mostly. I was numb. When I told my parents, Mom cried. Dad hugged me and said, "We'll get through this." Then Mark called. I expected sympathy. I got the opposite. When I explained, voice shaking, he sighed dramatically and said, He cheated, not died. Relax. It happens. Relax, relax. Like my marriage was a flat tire. That was the first moment I realized. This wasn't going to be a story about heartbreak. It was going to be a story about cruelty. 2 weeks into the divorce, our family had a Sunday dinner tradition. Mom insisted I come. I shouldn't have. We were sitting around the table when Dad asked gently, "How are you feeling, kiddo?" Before I even inhaled to answer, Mark jumped in. "Well, at least Emily's cooking won't poison 2 people anymore. Just herself." Everyone laughed. Except me. Except Mom, who said softly, "Mark, stop." But he waved her off. "It's a joke, relax." That word again. Relax. I put down my fork, excused myself, and went to the bathroom to hide tears. Mark thought it was funny. Everyone else thought it was harmless. No one realized that I was breaking. Piece by piece. The family group chat became my private hell. Mark started sending divorce memes. A picture of a gravestone saying, "Here lies Emily's marriage." Jokes about how I couldn't keep a man even with a GPS. A meme of a wedding ring in a trash can. I ignored them. But silence wasn't enough to stop him. He escalated. He sent a photo of a billboard that said, "Relationship for rent. Lightly used. Fragile owner." And wrote, "At Emily this you." My mother scolded him softly. Dad said nothing. Mark reveled in the attention. And me. I saved every message, every screenshot, because I knew one day I might need them. The moment that lit the fuse happened at our cousin's engagement party. I was standing near the fireplace, holding a drink, when Mark shouted across the room, Did you remember to bring the divorce papers? Never know when you might need them." Everyone went silent. Then a few people laughed nervously. That humiliation, that freezing, stomach-dropping humiliation, was the final straw. I walked up to him, face calm, heart burning. "Why are you doing this?" I said softly. He smirked. "Come on. Lighten up. It's all jokes." "No," I whispered. "It's cruelty." I saw something flicker in his eyes. Maybe surprise, maybe guilt. But he brushed it off. I walked away. But inside, a decision had already been made. He wasn't going to stop. So I was going to stop him. For good. Mark had a secret. Big one. Years ago, when I was 23 and he was 26. He had gotten into trouble with the IRS after selling one of his cars. He confessed to me one night after drinking too much at a family barbecue. He told me he forged ownership documents under a fake LLC to hide a classic car during an audit. He said, "If the IRS found out, I'd lose everything." I never told anyone. Back then, I was the sibling who protected him. But now things were different. He weaponized my pain, mocked my grief, ruined my dignity. So maybe it was time to stop protecting him and start protecting myself. Mark didn't love people. Not really. He loved cars. Classic vintage restored cars, the kind that cost more than some homes. His favorite was the 1967 Shelby Mustang GT500 he restored over 6 years. His pride, his identity, his soul. He kept them all in a private temperature-controlled garage outside Denver, insured ridiculously, bragged about them constantly. The Mustang. That was his child. The secret car, the one with forged documents, was one of the 3. If the insurance company ever found out, he'd lose at least that one, maybe more. I didn't want to destroy him. I didn't want him arrested. I didn't want him ruined. I just wanted him to know how I felt, to understand pain, humiliation. That was all. And fate handed me away. My friend Laura Mitchell works in compliance at a major insurance company in Colorado. One night, I sat across from her in a dimly lit coffee shop. Snow fell behind the window, and the place smelled like caramel and roasted beans. She leaned forward. "Emily, are you sure you want to do this?" I slid my phone toward her. Screenshots, old text, photos, the entire confession Mark gave me years ago. "He did this," I said quietly. "And he's still doing it." Laura examined everything carefully. "This is enough to trigger an audit review," she said. "It won't destroy his life, but he will lose the car." He nodded. "That's all I want. Once I file this," she warned, "there's no taking it back." I whispered, "Do it." 2 weeks later, the audit review was activated. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't celebrate. I didn't feel good. Felt justified. Mark called me 2 days later. Panic in his voice. "Emily, did you talk to someone about my cars?" I played innocent. "Why would I? The insurance is reviewing my documents. They said something didn't match. They want to inspect the Mustang." He was breathing fast, shaky. For the first time in his life, Mark sounded vulnerable. If they take that car, you'll understand what loss feels like." Silence. "Emily, I'm sorry." The first genuine apology in years. But it was too late. Consequences were already on the way. I wasn't there when the inspectors came. But I heard all about it later. 2 agents, clipboards, camera, a tow truck in the background. Mark tried everything. Pleading, yelling, bargaining. But forged documents speak louder than excuses. His Mustang, the love of his life, was loaded onto the truck and taken away. That night, he didn't make any jokes. Not one. I didn't enjoy his pain. But for the first time he understood mine. A month passed. One snowy morning, he asked me to meet him at a small cafe downtown. He looked different. Not defeated, but humbled. "Emily," he began, voice low. "I didn't realize how much I hurt you." I studied him. "Because you never paid attention." He nodded slowly. "I thought I was being funny. I thought I was helping you cope. I didn't know I was making it worse." "You didn't listen," I said. "You never have." "I'm listening now." He meant it. For once in his life. He truly meant it. When I woke up the next morning, it felt like I had been hit by an emotional truck. My phone was buzzing nonstop. I didn't even have to unlock it to know who it was. Brad. 'Cause of course, my brother had a sixth sense for inserting himself into my lowest moments. Normally he was at least smart enough to keep his distance after a fight, letting a day or 2 pass before restarting his steady drip of condescending remarks. Not this time. This time he wanted blood. 24 missed calls. 13 voice messages. 7 text messages ranging from, "Where the hell are you?" to "Tell me she didn't leave you again" to "You're pathetic, man." I didn't open a single one. I just lay there on the couch, staring at the ceiling, the events of the night replaying like a cruel montage. Sarah's face twisted in frustration, her mascara smudged from crying, her voice cracking as she told me she couldn't do it anymore. The slam of the door was the part that rang the loudest in my head. I sat up, rubbed my face with both hands, and let out a long, slow breath. I wasn't ready. Not for Brad. Not for my parents. Not for anyone. The voicemails. But curiosity is a stupid, dangerous thing. By noon I broke. Press play. Voicemail number 1 was Brad's usual tone. James. Dude. What the hell? Mom said Sarah left again. Answer your phone. Voicemail number 2 was worse. Man, I can't believe this. Again. You really can't hold on to a marriage, can you? Jesus. I felt my jaw tighten. Voicemail number 3. Look, I'm coming over. I'm not watching you crawl back to her again. This is just embarrassing at this point. Voicemail number 4. Pick. Phone. Voicemail number 5 was the one that flipped a switch inside me. His tone was smug, gleeful almost. Wow. Wow. She really left you. Can't lie, this is hilarious. I told Dad you'd screw it up eventually. Should have put money on it. He laughed. He actually laughed. Something inside me shifted. Not a snap. More like a slow, deliberate click. A switch being pushed from one position to another. I wasn't angry. I was calm. And that scared me far more. The doorbell rang at 1:17 p.m. I knew who it was. Brad didn't wait for me to answer. He never waited for anything. He let himself in because he had a damn key. I had given him one back when we were still pretending to be brothers who liked each other. The door slammed open. James! He shouted dramatically, stepping in with that expensive cologne and overinflated confidence he wore like armor. There you are. Jesus, do you look like crap? He scanned the room like he was searching for evidence of a crime. Or entertainment. Well, he asked, raising an eyebrow. She gone? I said nothing. He smirked. That's a yes. I didn't move. Didn't blink. Didn't react. His voice lowered. You going to cry again? Or are you finally done embarrassing the family? That was it. Something inside me hardened. Not rage. Resolve. Cold, calculated resolve. I stood up slowly, and something in my expression must have changed, because Brad's smirk wavered for the first time. Get out, I said quietly. Brad blinked. What? Get out. He laughed awkwardly. Come on, man, don't be dramatic. I'm trying to help. You don't help, I said. You never help. You enjoy watching me fall apart. You feed on it. So get out. Brad's jaw tightened. Fine. Sit here and sulk. But don't expect us to keep pretending like your mess isn't affecting the whole family. He walked out with that same arrogant stride. But for the first time, he didn't look victorious. He looked unsettled. Because I wasn't the same brother he used to mock. Not anymore. That night Sarah sent one final text. I'm staying with my sister for now. I'll contact you in a few weeks to discuss logistics. Please don't reach out. No emotion. No warmth. Not even anger. Just distance. Clean cut. A surgical removal of me from her life. I sat there staring at the message, and something inside me finally broke. Not with noise, not with tears, but with clarity. She was gone. And Brad was celebrating it. I turned off my phone and stared into the dark. For the first time in my life, I realized something. I had spent years trying to be a good brother, trying to be forgiving, trying to be patient, trying to keep the peace. But peace is a one-way street in a family like mine. And I was done walking alone. 3 days later, my mother insisted I attend a family dinner. I almost didn't go. But then I remembered Brad's voicemail, his laugh echoing in my head. And I realized something. Going wasn't weakness. It was opportunity. The restaurant was a mid-range Italian spot. White tablecloths, olive oil on the table, waiters that pretended to care. My family had a regular table because of course they did. My mom waved at me as soon as I walked in. James. Honey. Her voice was dripping with pity, the exact tone I hated. You look tired. Are you eating? You look so thin. My father didn't hug me. He just gave a stiff nod. And Brad leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, grin already forming. Look who crawled out of his cave, he said loudly enough for nearby tables to hear. My mother slapped his arm lightly. Bradley, behave. He smirked at me like we shared a private joke. Except the joke was me. Dinner was torture. Every time someone mentioned relationships, Brad would insert a comment about people who can't keep theirs. Every time someone mentioned responsibility, Brad would nudge me and say, "Hear that, little bro?" Every time Sarah's name came up, my mother would sigh dramatically and say, "Well, some marriages are not meant to be." My father didn't look up from his salad. I stayed silent. I watched. I learned. Because I realized something important. Brad didn't just mock me. He needed me to fail. My failure validated his entire identity. His superiority, his perfect image, his golden child status. If I healed, he lost power. If I grew, he shrank. And that meant only one thing. My comeback wasn't just going to inconvenience him. It was going to destroy him. It happened when dessert arrived. My mother, in her well-practiced dramatic tones, said, "Well, thankfully we have one son who knows how to maintain a stable home. At least Brad's marriage is perfect." My stomach turned. Brad's grin widened. "Yep. Some of us aren't built for divorce culture." My father chuckled. My mother nodded. And something inside me clicked. Perfect marriage. Brad. Well, no, absolutely not. Because I knew something they didn't. Something Brad prayed would never come out. Something that could ruin everything he valued. His image. His marriage. His freedom. Something he hid for years. His secret. His one vulnerability. The one thing he loved most. And as I sat there, surrounded by people who underestimated me, humiliated me, dismissed me, I made a decision. Quiet, decisive, dangerous decision. I was going to take it. All of it. Piece by piece. Until Brad felt something he had never experienced in his entire life. Real loss. The kind that shakes you to your core. The kind that changes you. The kind that makes you wish you had never laughed at someone else's pain. Let me be clear. My brother wasn't afraid of me knowing personal things. He wasn't afraid of me telling our parents he'd been secretly draining their retirement savings for years. He wasn't afraid of me revealing that he used company funds for personal vacations. He wasn't afraid of me exposing his gambling problem. Well, Brad only feared one thing. His wife, Emily. The only person he truly respected. The only person whose opinion mattered. The only person he worked desperately to impress. She was the one thing he loved without ego, without conditions. And the one thing that could destroy him. Because Emily. She had zero tolerance for lies, manipulation, or infidelity. And Brad. Brad was guilty of all three. Brad thought he was careful. He wasn't. He thought he covered his tracks. He didn't. And he thought no one knew. I did. 'Cause I saw the messages. Not by accident. Not even through snooping. Brad had borrowed my iPad months earlier for a presentation. He forgot to log out of his email. That's how I learned about the hotel reservations, the late-night messages, the gifts he sent to someone named AS, photos, the dates, the receipts. He was cheating. Not once, not twice, not occasionally. He was in a full-blown affair. A 2-year relationship behind Emily's back. Emily, who had sacrificed her career to support his. Emily, who trusted him more than anyone in the world. Emily, who believed he was the stable, loyal brother, the opposite of me. That was the moment I realized. Brad didn't just mock my marriage falling apart. He was projecting. He was terrified of his own. And now I had the power to break him. Not with lies. With the truth. But revenge isn't about explosions. It's about erosion. Low. Precise. Invisible at first. I wasn't going to expose him immediately. That would be satisfying, sure. But it wouldn't destroy him. Not fully. Not permanently. Well, I was going to take what he loved most. In stages. First, I needed to get close to the one person Brad never expected me to speak to. His wife, Emily. Most people, when they think of revenge, picture rage, confrontation, explosions. But true revenge. The kind that rewires someone's life. It always begins with kindness, or at least the illusion of it. Because kindness lowers defenses. Kindness earns trust. Kindness opens doors that rage would never get near. And with Emily, that mattered more than anything. The night after the family dinner, I sat in my living room, staring at her contact on my phone. For years, Brad had ensured that Emily and I were never close. He painted me as the unstable brother, the emotional liability, the one who couldn't keep his own life together. She believed him. Why shouldn't she? He was charming. He was composed. He was persuasive in all the ways I wasn't. But if I was going to dismantle him properly, slowly, methodically, permanently, Emily was the first step. I didn't call. That would be weird. I didn't text. Also weird. No, what I did was simple. Quiet. Sincere. Very human. I drafted a message that didn't raise suspicion. Something neutral. Something safe. Hey Emily. Just wanted to say I'm sorry if I seemed distant at dinner. It's been a rough week, but I appreciate you being kind as always. I stared at it for 10 minutes before pressing send. Not too emotional. Not too long. Not too suggestive. Just honest enough. 5 minutes later she replied. James, are you okay? You seemed really quiet. I hope you're taking care of yourself. There it was. A door. Cracked open. Pushed just enough. Trying to. Thank you for asking. It means a lot. I didn't send anything else. I let silence work for me. People underestimate silence. How powerful it is, how it lingers, how it invites the other person to fill the space. Emily responded again. If you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here. And just like that, Brad's world developed its first fracture. Invisible. Insignificant on the surface. But cracks grow. And I was just getting started. The next morning Brad called me. I didn't answer. He texted. I didn't answer. Then he showed up. Of course he did. Brad wasn't the kind of man who understood boundaries. His entire life was built on barging through doors, interrupting conversations, forcing himself into moments. He walked right into my house again, the same arrogant stride, the same loud voice. Why the hell aren't you answering me? I calmly sipped my coffee. He hated calm. Calm made him feel out of control. Busy, I said. With what? He demanded. Shrugged. Life. He scowled. You're doing that thing again. What thing? That mysterious crap. Like you think you're above talking to me. I looked him right in the eye. I don't think I'm above you, Brad. He smirked. Good. Leaned back. I think I'm just done with you. His smirk twitched. Just slightly. But I noticed. What the hell is that supposed to mean? It means, I said quietly, that I'm not your punching bag anymore. Brad scoffed. Oh please. You've said that before. I meant it this time. He stepped closer, lowering his voice in that condescending older brother tone he had perfected. You're going to come crawling back. You always do. Smiled. Not a sad smile. Not a defeated smile. A knowing smile. The kind that unnerved him more than shouting ever could. No, I said. You'll be the one crawling. Brad blinked. For the first time. He didn't understand me. And it scared him. 2 days later, Emily texted again. James, I'm checking in. Are you okay? You've been on my mind. On her mind. Brad would have exploded if he saw that. I kept my response soft but vulnerable. Rough week. But thank you for reaching out. Want to grab coffee sometime? I could really use a friendly face. I held my breath. Because if she said no, I'd need a different plan. She said yes. Brad's downfall officially began. She replied in less than 2 minutes. Of course. Saturday. Perfect. Public. Innocent. Exactly the kind of meeting that Brad wouldn't question. Because he trusted Emily more than he trusted gravity, we met at a small cafe in the suburbs. The kind with wooden tables, warm lighting, and indie music playing softly. Emily walked in wearing a navy sweater. Her auburn hair pulled into a neat ponytail. She looked tired. Not physically but emotionally. The kind of exhaustion that comes from carrying a marriage on your back. When she saw me, she smiled, small but genuine. "James," she said, pulling me into a friendly hug. "I'm glad you came." The hug surprised me. Not because it happened, but because of how she hugged. Warm, comforting, real. Not the polite, stiff hugs she usually gave me at family gatherings. We sat down with our coffees, and for a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she said softly, "So, how are you really holding up?" I didn't lie. But I didn't give the whole truth either. "I miss her," I said. "Even though the marriage was falling apart. Even though we were hurting each other. I don't know. It's strange losing someone you thought you'd grow old with." Emily's eyes softened in that empathetic way she had. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "You deserved better." Funny. Those 3 words, "you deserved better," felt like medicine. No one in my family had ever said them to me. We talked for an hour, then 2, then 3. And during that time, something fascinating happened. Emily saw me. Not the version Brad mocked. Not the version my parents pitied. Not the version Sarah had given up on. The real me. And she liked me. More than she expected. I saw it in her eyes. The way she leaned in when I spoke. The way she laughed softly at my jokes. The way she looked at me not like Brad's brother, but like a man she respected, maybe even admired. And admiration. That was dangerous. For Brad. Emily and I didn't do anything inappropriate. No flirting. No touching. No emotional shouting. Just real connection. But connection, even innocent connection, can ignite suspicion. Especially in marriages built on lies. That night Brad called me again. But this time his tone was different. Not mocking. Not arrogant. Something else. Something he wasn't used to feeling. Uncertainty. "Hey," he said too casually. "Emily mentioned you 2 grabbed coffee." I didn't bite. "Yeah," I said. "Why?" "No reason," he said. "Just weird that she didn't tell me first." I let silence linger. He hated silence. "Are you?" He stopped. Then restarted. "Are you trying to get close to her?" Smiled. The kind of smile he couldn't see but would have nightmares about if he did. "Brad," I said calmly. "If I wanted to get close to Emily." Pause. Letting the moment breathe. "I wouldn't have to try." Brad's breath caught. Just a little. But enough. Enough for me to know the truth. The cracks weren't cracks anymore. They were fault lines. And I had only just begun to press. Over the next week, Emily kept texting. Sometimes small things. "Hope you're doing okay today." Saw something that reminded me of our conversation. Sometimes deeper things. "Do you ever feel like Brad isn't fully honest with you? Has he ever acted controlling toward you?" And finally, "James, has Brad ever lied to me?" That question. That was the moment the revenge truly shifted. Because she didn't text. "Has Brad lied?" She texted. "Has Brad lied to me?" Personal. Specific. Pointed. She already suspected. The seed was planted. The roots were growing. All I had to do was give a little water. Little sunlight. Little truth. Not enough to expose the affair. Not yet. Just enough to tighten the emotional distance between them. So I replied, "Emily, you deserve honesty. And Brad doesn't always treat the truth the way you do." I didn't elaborate. I didn't need to. Those words were enough fuel to light a slow, controlled fire inside her mind. And controlled fires. They burned the longest. It was a Wednesday evening when I heard a knock on my door. I checked the peephole expecting a neighbor. My heart stopped. Emily, standing on my porch. No makeup. Red eyes. Oversized hoodie. A woman who had just cried for hours. I opened the door slowly. "Emily, what happened?" She shook her head and walked straight inside, pacing my living room like a storm trapped in a glass box. Then she turned to me with trembling hands. "James, I think Brad is cheating." I didn't react. Not visibly. Not yet. Why do you think that? I asked softly. She sat down, covering her face. Because he's been distant, snapping at me, hiding his phone. And tonight, her voice cracked. Tonight he called someone the wrong name. The name. Ashley. Was the woman he had been seeing for 2 years. Emily looked up at me, her eyes pleading. Tell me the truth, please. And I did. Not everything. Not the full story. Not yet. Just enough to break her trust in Brad completely. Enough to destroy the foundation of their perfect marriage. Enough to push her toward me. Enough to begin the next stage. I knelt in front of her, gently took her hands, and whispered the words that would change everything. Emily, Brad hasn't been the man you think he is for a long time. Her breath hitched, her eyes filled with tears. And that moment, that raw, real, vulnerable moment, was when I knew Brad had officially lost the one thing he loved most. Not because I had taken her, not yet, but because she had begun leaving him in her heart. And that is the first form of betrayal, the emotional one, the one that hurts the deepest, the one Brad deserved, the one I was carefully orchestrating. And the next stage would be physical, real, undeniable. The moment Brad would learn what it feels like to be powerless. The next morning, I woke up in a house that didn't feel like mine. Sure, my name was still on the lease. Sure, my clothes were folded in the drawers, my coffee mug was in the sink, my boots by the door. But the space felt hollow, as if Michael had swept through and taken something invisible but essential with him. Maybe it was the peace I once associated with this place. Maybe it was the illusion of stability. Or maybe it was just the fact that yesterday felt like a tectonic shift. My marriage had shattered. My relationship with my brother had turned into a battlefield. And somehow, tangled in all that debris, a new uneasy alliance with my ex-wife, my cheating, lying ex-wife, had started to form. Not out of love, not out of forgiveness, but out of something darker, revenge. And we hadn't even begun. I brewed coffee, took a sip and winced. Tasted bitter, too bitter. Checked the bag. Michael had taken the good beans. Of course he did. I sat on the bar stool and rubbed a hand over my face. Today wasn't about emotions. It wasn't about grief. It wasn't even about recovery. Today was about planning. War planning. By 9 a.m., I was parked outside the small cafe on 4th Street, the one with brick walls, low lighting and cheap bagels. The kind of place nobody in our family would ever step foot in voluntarily. Angela chose it for precisely that reason. I spotted her in the back booth. Black hoodie, baseball cap, low, sunglasses. She'd gone full incognito, as if expecting paparazzi. She looked up as I approached. "You look terrible," she said bluntly. "You look like you're about to commit a federal crime," I replied. "Close enough," she muttered. We settled into an awkward silence. A year ago we'd have laughed here, maybe shared a pastry, talked about weekend plans or our parents, or which of our friends had gotten married too young. Now, we were strangers tied together by shared destruction. She finally pulled out her phone, turning it toward me. "What's this?" "Yes. Everything," she said. "Everything we're going to use." I stared at the screen. Messages, screenshots, voice memos, photos, financial statements, receipts, logs, location data, a whole digital archive of betrayal. "Wait," I said, leaning closer. "Some of these were while we were still married." "Yeah," she said coldly. "I documented everything." My jaw clenched. "Why?" She looked at me, really looked at me for the first time in months. "Because I knew someday he'd ruin your life. And I didn't want him to." Her voice cracked. "So did something inside me that we didn't go after my brother directly." "Well, that would have been too easy." Michael thrived on image. His polished golden boy persona, his country club reputation, his spotless social facade. So we went after the foundation that held those illusions up. Step 1, his company. Michael had spent 5 years bragging about founding a consulting firm. In reality, it was 2 employees and a leased office above a dentist. Angela handed me a list. Contacts, people he owed money, people he lied to, people he burned bridges with. But one name stood out. Harper Wells. My eyebrows shot up. You found her. Angela nodded. She's willing to talk. I let out a low whistle. Harper was his biggest former client, the one he'd conned out of nearly $15,000. She'd tried to sue him, but he'd dodged the case on a technicality. Why would she talk now? Yes. Angela smiled, slow and wicked. Because I told her she'd get every penny back. I stared at her. Angela, that's... Relax, she said. You're not paying for it. He is. Sat back. This woman, my ex-wife who'd betrayed me so deeply, was now orchestrating a strategic strike on the very man she cheated with. Life is strange. Next on the list was the one thing Michael valued more than money. Reputation. Not among family, not really. But among the affluent crowd he'd spent years sucking up to. Investors. Golf buddies. Committee members. Socialites. People he desperately wanted to impress. Angela slid a folder across the table. What's this? Asked. Proof he forged Dad's signature on 2 loan documents. Cold. Precise. Devastating. Jesus, Angela, I whispered. Do you realize what this means? She nodded. It means your brother isn't just a liar. He's a felon. My stomach twisted. We were crossing a line, a serious one, but the thing was, Michael had crossed it years ago. We were just shining a light on it. 1 week later, I sat in my truck outside a studio office where Harper Wells had just recorded a full interview. Exposing Michael, his scams, his lies, his manipulation, his fraudulent contracts. Angela had arranged everything. I shouldn't have been impressed, but I was. When she walked out of the building, sunglasses in hand, I raised an eyebrow. You're terrifying, I said. He smirked. Good. You'll need terrifying if we're going to finish this. My parents called a family dinner. Mandatory. As if we were 12 again. The moment I walked into their overly decorated suburban home, I felt tension crackling in the air. My mother approached, wringing her hands. Honey, she said carefully, we heard about this situation. Clenched my jaw. What situation? Asked. She lowered her voice. The divorce. Angela. Michael. I looked around. My father stood in the doorway, arms crossed. My sister, Lily, hovered near the kitchen, lips pressed tight. And Michael sat on the couch, smirking like he'd already won. Sit, he said. We have things to discuss. I walked past him. Actually, I said. I do. Everyone froze. Good that I opened my laptop, connected it to their television and pressed play. First, Harper's interview. My mother's jaw dropped. My father cursed under his breath. Lily gasped. And Michael. His face went white. Then red. Then purple. What the hell is this? He demanded. The truth, I said calmly. Next, I opened another file. The forged signatures. Clear as day. Undeniable. My father nearly fainted. You forged my name, he choked out. Michael swallowed hard, eyes flicking wildly. I can explain. You'd better start, Dad growled. Because the police might want an explanation too. Michael's mouth snapped shut. He looked at me, venom in his eyes. You did this. He nodded. Yes, I did. Angela stepped out from behind me. And I helped. My mother's hand flew to her chest. You. But why? Angela looked directly at Michael. Because he deserves everything that's coming. Michael broke. Right there. In the living room. Hands shaking. Breathing uneven. Trying desperately to defend himself but failing miserably. For the first time in my life, I saw him afraid. Genuinely afraid. He stumbled back, looking around at our family. Our parents, our sister, even me, searching for a lifeline. No one moved. No one helped him. He was alone. Just like he'd left me alone. Just like he left Angela alone when things went south. just like he left everyone alone after using them. You ruined me, he whispered. No, I said. You ruined you. 2 days later, I walked into the office building Michael had once boasted about. His nameplate had been taken down. His desk was cleared out. His staff had been let go. The landlord had locked him out. He'd lost everything. But he still had one thing left. His pride. His inflated, untouchable ego. The one thing he loved more than money, more than status, more than even Angela. So I took that too. I stepped out of the elevator and handed the new owner, Harper Wells, the final contract. To sign. Mile. Shook my hand. His company is mine now, she said. And you, she asked. What will you do next? I exhaled slowly. I think I'll start over. She nodded. You earned it. That evening, I sat in my quiet house as the sun set behind the trees. Angela texted me. We're almost done. You okay? I typed back. Just thinking. A few seconds passed. He deserved it. I stared at the words. And I realized something. She wasn't talking about revenge anymore. She was talking about justice. And maybe, just maybe, she was talking about forgiveness too. But I wasn't sure I was ready for that. Not yet. The war wasn't over. There were still pieces of the story left to unravel. Secrets left unexposed. Consequences left to unfold. And as much as I hated to admit it, part of me wanted to see how it would all end. 3 days after the family confrontation, I was in my backyard splitting wood when my phone rang. Unknown number. Normally I'd ignore it, but something made me swipe. Yeah, said. A familiar voice came through. Shaky, defeated, stripped of the usual arrogance. James, it's me. Michael. For a moment I forgot how to breathe. He hadn't called me in months. He hadn't asked me for anything in years. He'd never sounded afraid in his entire life. What do you want? Asked, keeping my tone flat. There was a long silence. Then, I need help. Closed my eyes. Of course he did. What happened now? Asked. I lost the lease on my apartment, he said quietly. My accounts are frozen pending investigation. I'm staying in some cheap motel. They're talking about pressing charges. Dad won't answer my calls. Lily blocked my number. Mom says she's disappointed in me. Disappointed. He sounded stunned by that word. As if disappointed was worse than disowned. I leaned against a cold tree trunk. And you think I'm the one who's going to save you? Another long pause. You're my brother, he whispered. I felt something sharp twist inside me. Anger. History. But also, a sliver of pity I didn't want to admit to. Where are you? I asked reluctantly. He exhaled with relief. Ashton Motor Lodge. Room 14. Hung up. I didn't say I'd come. But 20 minutes later I was driving there anyway. The motel looked like it had been abandoned since the 90s. Faded neon sign. Cracked pavement. Paint peeling from every railing. I walked up to room 14 and knocked. The door opened, and I froze. Michael looked unrecognizable. Hair uncombed, eyes bloodshot. Shirt wrinkled like he'd slept in it for days. Face hollowed like he hadn't eaten properly in a week. He stepped back to let me in. The room smelled like stale cigarettes and hopelessness. What do you want from me? I asked, crossing my arms. He sank onto the edge of the bed. I don't know, he whispered. I don't know what to do. It was the first honest thing he'd said to me in years. I sat in the single metal chair in the corner. Did you call Angela? Asked. His jaw clenched. No, he muttered. She hates me. Yeah, I said. She has good reason. He winced. We sat in silence for a long while. Then he spoke again, softer than before. James, did you hate me before all this? I wasn't ready for that question. I looked at him, really looked. At the boy I grew up with. The teenager who stole my shoes, stole my food, stole every shred of attention. The adult who stole my wife. Took a breath. I didn't hate you, I said. I just stopped trusting you. His eyes filled with something I'd never seen in them. Regret. Real regret. He swallowed hard. "I'm sorry," he whispered. He said it like the words burned his throat. I didn't respond, because I didn't know how. Not yet. I was ready to leave. Ready to walk out of that depressing room and let him sit in the bed he'd made for himself. But then he said something that made me stop at the door. "There's something you don't know." Turn slowly. "What now, Michael?" He ran a hand through his hair, shaking. When Angela and I were together." I held up a hand. I don't want details." "No," he said. "It's not about that. It's about what happened after." I narrowed my eyes. He swallowed. "She didn't want to break up with you." Silence. The air left my lungs. "What?" I asked quietly. "She wasn't going to choose me. She told me I was a mistake. She told me the night before everything blew up that she wanted to confess everything to you and try to fix the marriage." My heart hammered against my ribs. "Well, no, that couldn't be true. She'd lied. She'd betrayed me. She'd stayed with him." "Why are you telling me this now?" "Yes. Because I ruined it," he whispered. "I told her if she confessed, I'd destroy her reputation, expose her at work, tell everyone." My stomach dropped. "You blackmailed her," I said in disbelief. He nodded miserably. "She tried to pull away from me. I forced her to stay." I grabbed the back of the chair to steady myself. All this time, I thought Angela had chosen him. I thought she'd willingly thrown us away. But she'd been trapped, cornered, manipulated by the man who'd always manipulated everyone. I didn't know whether to scream or collapse. "So what happened?" "Yes. She eventually left me anyway," he whispered. "She told me she wished she'd never met me. Wished she'd listened to you." My head spun. "You destroyed my marriage twice," I said quietly. "First by cheating with her. Then by taking away her chance to tell me the truth." He didn't argue. He didn't defend himself. He just nodded. "I know." When I got home that night, Angela was sitting on my porch steps, arms wrapped around her knees, a jacket thrown over her shoulders, looking small and fragile in the glow of the porch light. "What are you doing here?" "Yes." She stood slowly. "You didn't answer your phone. I thought something happened." I walked past her and unlocked the door. "You should go home," I said. "James," she said softly. Turned. And for the first time since the divorce, she cried in front of me. "I didn't choose him," she whispered. I felt the world tilt beneath me. She wiped her cheeks. "I wanted to tell you everything. I wanted to fix things. I was scared. And he threatened me. He told me he'd ruin my career. He told me he'd ruin my family." I swallowed. "You could have told me." She shook her head. "I tried. Dozen times. You wouldn't even look at me." She was right. I'd shut her out so completely that she never stood a chance. "And the rest?" "Yes. Everything you kept doing with him. That wasn't love," she whispered. "It was fear, control, guilt. Every day I felt sick about it. Every day I wished I'd told you anyway." The pain in her voice wasn't fake. It was real. Human. And that hurt even worse. "I don't know what you want me to say," I murmured. "Nothing," she said. "I just needed you to know the truth from me. Not him." I leaned against the doorframe, exhausted. And for a brief moment we just stood there. Two broken people holding the same shattered past. Word spread fast in town. Harper's interview went public. Local news picked it up. 3 investors filed complaints. One of his former clients threatened a lawsuit. The Chamber of Commerce removed him. The golf club suspended his membership. My parents were humiliated. Lily refused to speak to him. And Michael, he was spiraling. He called me again 2 days later. "James, they're all turning on me. Everyone." "You did that," I said coldly. "I know," he whispered. "But I can't handle this." Closed my eyes. Because a part of me, some lingering instinct from childhood, Still wanted to protect him. But I couldn't. Not from consequences. Not from truth. You're going to have to face what you did, I said. All of it. He didn't argue. He just broke down crying. Crying. I hung up before I could soften. Everyone thought the thing I took from Michael was his company, his reputation, his money, his social standing. But those were just symptoms, side casualties of justice. The real thing I took from him was far deeper. I took the illusion he'd built his whole life on, that he was untouchable, superior, the golden son, the favorite, the one who always came out on top. ***. For the first time ever, he wasn't. For the first time ever, he had to look in a mirror and see the villain staring back. And for the first time ever, he realized he needed me more than I needed him. That was the thing he loved most. Power. And now he didn't have it. A week later I met Angela again. This time at my place. This time without tension. This time quietly. We sat on opposite ends of the couch. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "You don't have to forgive me," she said softly. "I know," I replied. "And I'm not asking you to love me again. I know." She looked down at her hands. "But I want to help you finish this. Whatever comes next. Whatever you decide." I studied her. The weight in her eyes. The remorse in her voice. The way she was trying, not to win me back but to fix what she broke. "We're not done," I said quietly. She nodded once, understanding. No anger. No shock. Just acceptance. "Okay," she whispered. "Then let's finish it." Outside the night was still. Inside something new had begun forming. Not love. Not forgiveness. Not yet. Something else. Something like possibility. Something like truth. The story wasn't over. Not even close. 2 days after Angela and I sat quietly on my couch, I woke up to something strange. A white envelope pushed halfway under my front door. No address. No name. No handwriting. Just a blank envelope. I crouched down, picked it up, and felt a tightness build in my gut. Inside was a single piece of paper. Printed. No signature. Just 10 words. "You have no idea what your brother actually did." My heartbeat slowed. Then quickened. Then plummeted. What the hell did that mean? I read it again. Not what he did to me. Not what he did to Angela. Not what he did to the clients. What your brother actually did. Something worse. Something hidden. Something someone didn't want traced back to them. I folded the paper, grabbed my keys, and left the house. This wasn't over. Not even close. I found Angela sitting outside her apartment complex on the cold concrete steps, a hoodie pulled tight around her shoulders. "Did you put this under my door?" I asked, handing her the note. She frowned, shaking her head. "No," she said. "But I think I know who might have." My stomach tightened. "Angela, what aren't you telling me?" She closed her eyes for a moment, then exhaled. "There's one thing I didn't tell you," she whispered. I waited, hands in my pockets, jaw clenched, bracing myself. "You know how Michael threatened me? How he said he'd ruin my job and my family?" He nodded. "Well, he didn't just say he'd ruin me. He showed me something. Something he had. Something he never wanted you to see." I stepped closer. "What did he show you?" She swallowed hard. "A recording." My skin prickled. "What recording?" She hesitated. "Of a conversation between him and your father." I stared at her. "My father?" She nodded. "He was telling your dad that you were unstable, that you were having anger episodes, that you were losing control. He told your dad that you'd be a liability in the family business, that you'd ruin potential deals." I blinked slowly. That's a lie." "I know," she said. "But your dad didn't. And Michael recorded that entire conversation to keep leverage." I took a step back. It felt like someone had knocked the wind out of me. "When?" I asked quietly. "Months before the affair started," she said. Blood roared in my ears. "So, he was setting me up," I said. "Yes." Angela whispered. He didn't just ruin your marriage, James. He poisoned your entire family against you long before any of this happened. The cold concrete beneath my feet suddenly felt unstable. I leaned against the railing for support. Michael hadn't betrayed me once or twice out of impulse or jealousy. He'd planned it. Strategically. Cruelly. Years ahead. Long game. My chest tightened. Why? I whispered. Angela's answer was unforgivingly simple. Because you've always been the person he envied the most. I drove straight to the motel. Room 14. Same peeling paint. Same flickering hallway light. I didn't knock gently this time. I hammered my fist against the door. Michael, open it. I heard shuffling, then the lock clicked. He opened the door halfway. His eyes widened when he saw my expression. What? I shoved the door fully open and stepped inside. Where is it? I demanded. Where's what? He stammered. The recording you made of you and Dad. The one you used to threaten Angela. The one you used to make me look unstable. He froze. His mouth didn't move. His eyes did. Toward the drawer. I saw it instantly. I walked past him, yanked the cheap wooden drawer open, and shoved aside motel brochures. Underneath them, a USB drive. Red. Mull. Evil looking in its simplicity. I held it between two fingers. This, I whispered, is why you did everything. He stayed silent. My hand shook. You didn't cheat with Angela because you loved her. You did it because you wanted leverage. You wanted a hold on me. You wanted to ruin me so you could be your fantasy version of the better son. He looked down. For the first time, instead of guilt, saw fear. Real fear. James. Why? Snap. Give me a reason. One reason I shouldn't walk out of this room and let the cops take you and your entire fake life away. He sat on the edge of the bed, hands shaking. Because I can explain, he whispered. But I wasn't ready to hear him. Not yet. I stood over him, arms crossed. Talk. He dragged a hand across his mouth. I screwed up, okay? Panic. I thought Dad would never take me seriously. I thought Mom always favored you. I thought you'd always be the one they defended. So you destroyed my marriage. Snap. No, he said quickly. That part wasn't planned. Liar. It wasn't, he insisted. I swear. Angela and it was stupid, it was selfish, but it wasn't calculated. But when she tried to break it off, when she wanted to confess to you, I realized everything was about to blow up on me. I stared. You mean, your actions were finally catching up to you? Yes, he croaked. And I was scared. I laughed, sharp, humorless. You were scared. You. The golden son. The manipulator. The liar. He didn't meet my eyes. I didn't think you'd ever forgive her, he whispered. I didn't think you'd even listen. I thought if she told you everything, you'd choose her again. You'd rebuild. No. I'd be left behind. You were jealous, I said. He nodded slowly. Of everything. Always. Even when we were kids. You were better at sports. You were calmer. People liked you naturally. You didn't have to try. And Dad trusted you. He listened to you. I had to work twice as hard just to get what you got by breathing. I didn't know what to do with that confession. It was honest, and painful, and pathetic, and real. All this, I said, holding up the USB. All this destruction. Because you couldn't stand that I existed. He covered his face with his hands. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I know I ruined everything. I know I crossed every line. But I'm begging you, don't destroy me completely. I stared at him. You already destroyed yourself, I said. I left the motel without saying another word. When I got home, Angela was in my driveway. We need to talk, she said. Not now. Yes, she insisted, stepping closer. Now. Something in her voice, urgent, trembling, made me stop. What happened? She swallowed. Your parents called me. My blood ran cold. They want to see both of us, she said. Tonight. I blinked slowly. What? Why? They said your brother told them something. Something big. Something about you. My entire body tensed. That letter. Conversation. The recording. What did he tell them? Yes. She shook her head. They wouldn't say. They just said, "It's urgent." Exhaled. "Let's go then." She grabbed my arm gently. "James, you should prepare yourself." "For what?" She looked into my eyes. "For the truth your family has been hiding from you." My parents were waiting at the dining table. Lily sat in the corner. Michael wasn't there. My father spoke first. "Sit," he said. "I didn't." "What did you call me here for?" "Yes." My mother glanced nervously at my father. Then she inhaled deeply. "There's something we never told you." My stomach twisted. My father cleared his throat. "When you were 22, he said, you had a breakdown." I stared at him. "No," I said. "I didn't." "You did," he insisted. "And you don't remember." Angela stiffened beside me. "Your brother showed us the recording," my mother whispered. From that night, my heart rate spiked. "What night?" "The night you smashed the garage door. The night you yelled at us. The night you told us you didn't want to live anymore." I blinked in confusion. "I never said that." My father shook his head. "James, you did." Angela reached for my arm, but I pulled away. "What are you talking about?" I demanded. "That's why we always kept an eye on you," he said. "That's why we trusted Michael with the business. That's why we treated you differently. We thought you were fragile." My breath caught. My head pounded. "I don't remember any of that," I whispered. "You repressed it," my mom said softly. Lily looked up, eyes red. "We thought we were protecting you." I staggered back. "No," I said. "This doesn't make sense. I would never." Angela squeezed my hand. "James," she murmured, "your brother recorded part of it. I saw it. You were not okay." I felt like the floor was tilting. A memory flashed. Garage. Raised voice. A shattered tool on the ground. My father trying to calm me. A night I'd buried. No, a night someone buried for me. My voice cracked. "Why didn't you tell me?" My mother cried. "We didn't want you to feel broken." Broken. The word echoed. My father's voice trembled. "And your brother? He knew if you ever remembered, you'd push him away. So he used it. He twisted it. He weaponized it." I stared at the wall. Nothing. At everything. When the meeting ended, Angela walked me outside. "Are you okay?" she whispered. I didn't answer. Because I didn't know. Everything I believed about myself. Everything I believed about my family. Everything I believed about Michael was suddenly shifting. A buried part of my past. A secret my parents kept. A recording my brother used as leverage. A fear that I was unstable. A lie that had shaped my entire adult life. Angela squeezed my arm. "We're going to get through this," she said softly. I looked at her. And for the first time since the divorce, I let myself lean on her. Just for a moment. The war wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about the truth. And I wasn't sure I was ready for the truth. But it was coming. And it would change everything. That I barely slept the night before everything went to hell. Some nights silence is loud. Some nights memories scream. That night did both. I replayed every moment with Mark. His betrayals, his mockery, his smug smirk, his obsession with dominance. And for the first time I realized something. This wasn't about my divorce. This wasn't even about me. This was about control. Mark wanted to own me emotionally. Crush me. To remind me that he was the married one. The successful one. The brother who made better choices. But now he was losing grip on every strand of control he ever held. And he knew it. The next morning I went downstairs to the kitchen early. The house was quiet. No shouts, no footsteps. Just the soft hum of the refrigerator. Sarah walked in first. Eyes swollen but with a strange calmness. Morning, she whispered. Morning. We didn't need more words. Then Mark came. He froze in the doorway when he saw us sitting together. You could physically feel the tension twist the room like a vice. Wow, he said, voice dripping sarcasm. Cute. My wife and my brother having breakfast like some happy little couple. Mark, Sarah breathed, tired. Please. He slammed the fridge door open, grabbed a bottle of water, then slammed it shut. You think you can make me look stupid in my own house, he snapped. No one is trying to make you look stupid, I said quietly. You already did the moment you walked in here after your pathetic divorce, begging for sympathy. I didn't beg for anything. Oh please, he barked. Spare me the victim speech. You're both ridiculous. Acting like I'm the bad guy. Sarah sighed. Mark, we just needed time to. To what? He roared. Then he pointed at me. Ooh. The failure brother. The one who couldn't keep a wife even if she was chained to him. The one who cried into a beer bottle at my dining table like a drunk teenager. Something inside me snapped. But Sarah beat me to it. Stop it, Mark. The entire kitchen froze. Sarah never raises her voice. Ever. Mark blinked. Confused. Thrown off. Excuse me, he said quietly. Her eyes burned. Not with anger, but with years of swallowed pain finally spilling out. I have been patient with you. Supportive of you. Loyal to you while you humiliated me, dismissed me, ignored me. Sarah. No, she said firmly. You don't get to interrupt me right now. My jaw tightened. Because she wasn't just speaking to him. She was freeing herself. You humiliated your own brother. You laughed at his pain. You stomped on him when he was at his lowest. Why? To feel powerful. Mark's nostrils flared. You don't know what the hell you're talking about, he muttered. Sarah stepped closer. Collected. Edly. No, Mark. You don't know what you're talking about. You've spent so many years pretending you're some perfect husband, perfect brother, perfect man. When all you are is a bully hiding inside an adult body. Mark laughed once, harshly. You're unbelievable. And you're cruel, she said softly. That he turned to me. You did this, he hissed. You poisoned her against me. Mark, I said calmly. I never told Sarah anything. She saw everything by herself. He lunged. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't controlled. It was pure, unfiltered rage. He grabbed me by the shirt and slammed me against the wall so hard a picture frame crashed to the floor. You think you can take my wife? He snarled inches from my face. You think you can steal my life? You think you can embarrass me? In front of everyone? Mark, stop. Sarah cried, grabbing his arm. But he shoved her away. That was it. Her gasp was small, but it detonated something inside me. I grabbed Mark by the shoulders and shoved him backward. Hard. He stumbled, shocked. You don't push her, I growled, my voice shaking with adrenaline. He stared at me like he didn't recognize me. You're dead to me, he whispered. Both of you. Sarah's eyes filled with tears, not fear, grief. Mark, she said softly. Listen to yourself. Listen to what you just said. But he wasn't listening. He was spiraling. Get out, he spat at me. Get out of my house. Get out of my life. Get out before you what? Sarah demanded. Mark turned on her, face twisted. Before he could speak, she said the words that changed everything. I want a separation. Mark froze. It was like the world stopped breathing. What? He whispered. Her voice cracked, but her backbone didn't. I want a separation, Mark. His eyes darted between us. You're leaving me for him. No, she said, shaking her head. I'm leaving because you don't love me. You only love control. Mark threw a chair so hard it shattered against the tile. Sarah jumped. I moved in front of her. He wasn't thinking. He wasn't reasoning. He was unraveling. You think you can walk away from me, he shouted. I provide for this house. I built this life. You would be nothing without me. That's the problem, Sarah said quietly. You really believe that? Mark grabbed his keys. Get out of my house, he snarled. When I come back, I don't want to see either of you. And then, he stormed out. The door slammed so loudly it echoed through every corner of the house. The silence afterward was terrifying. No shouting, no chaos. Just the slow, painful sound of Sarah exhaling like she'd been holding her breath for 5 years. She collapsed onto the couch. I sat beside her. She didn't look at me at first. She just whispered. I didn't want it to end like this. I put a hand gently over hers. You didn't end anything, Sarah. Mark did. For once, she didn't argue. She leaned her head on my shoulder. Tired, sad, relieved, broken all at once. We sat there in that silence for almost an hour. Not talking, not planning, just breathing. When she finally lifted her head, her voice was steady again. We need to pack, she said. He'll come back angrier. And I'm done being afraid. We moved quickly. Not panic, purpose. Sarah grabbed essential papers, clothes, her laptop, documents she'd hidden years ago because Mark never let her handle important things. I loaded her suitcases into my car. The entire time, neither of us said much. We didn't need to. The house felt different. Lighter. Calmer. Almost relieved. When everything was packed, Sarah stood at the doorway, looking back at the life she was leaving. Do you regret it? I asked softly. No, she said. I regret staying this long. We got in the car. I started the engine. Just as I pulled out of the driveway, Sarah whispered, Where do we go now? I looked at her. Anywhere you want. She smiled faintly. Then, let's start with a place where we can both breathe. We were halfway down the highway when my phone buzzed. Mark. The message was short. 4 words. You'll pay for this. Sarah saw it too. She didn't say anything. She didn't have to. Because we both knew. This wasn't over. Not even close. Asterisk asterisk, the highway stretched endlessly ahead of us. A long silver ribbon cutting through pine trees and farmland. But it didn't feel like freedom. Not yet. Felt like the quiet before a tornado. Sarah stared out the window, not crying, not trembling, just thinking. I could practically hear her mind racing. After 10 minutes of silence, she finally spoke. I always thought, she whispered, that if I ever left, it would be because of something small. Some argument. Some moment where I realized I deserved better. Not this. Kept my eyes on the road. You did deserve better, I said softly. Long before today. She didn't respond, but the way she exhaled told me she knew it was true. I drove us to a small town 30 miles away. A quiet American suburb with wide streets, maple trees, and houses that looked freshly painted. We pulled into the parking lot of a small, family-owned hotel. Warm yellow lights glowed from inside the lobby. Felt comforting. I'll get the room, I told her. She nodded. Inside, the elderly woman at the desk smiled at me like I was the first human she'd seen all day. 1 king or 2 doubles? She asked casually. 2 doubles, I said without hesitation. Her eyes softened, almost knowingly. Honey, she said, tapping slowly on the keyboard. Whatever you're running from. Just remember you didn't lose anything worth keeping. Blink. Hit strangely hard. Sarah and I walked into the room. A simple, clean space with quilted blankets and soft lamps. She sat on the edge of her bed and whispered, Thank you for not leaving me alone. I sat across from her. You're not alone anymore, I said quietly. Not with this. Not ever again. We had been in the room maybe 20 minutes when Sarah's phone started vibrating non-stop. Caller ID Mark. Over and over and over. Then came the text. At first. Where are you? Pick up the phone. We need to talk. You're overreacting. You're making a scene. Come home. Then it escalated. You're ruining everything. You're embarrassing me. You think he's going to save you. Then finally, I'll find you. Sarah's hands trembled as she held the phone. Don't respond, I said softly. She put it face down. Her voice cracked. I'm scared of him, James. And I hate that. I hate that he made me feel small. You're not small, I said. You never were. For the first time since everything happened, her eyes filled with tears. But only for a moment. She wiped them away and whispered, I need to call my sister. Sarah explained everything to her sister on speakerphone. It took less than 2 minutes before her sister exploded. He what? He pushed you? No, absolutely not. You are not going back to that man. Then she added something that made both of us freeze. And honestly, James is a better man than Mark has ever been. Sarah and I exchanged a stunned glance. Her sister didn't stop. He's been jealous of James since high school. Mom and I have seen it for years. He always needed to be the center of attention. Now he thinks he owns you too. Sarah whispered. I thought I was the crazy one. You're not, her sister snapped. Mark is. When the call ended, Sarah just stared at the wall. Even my family saw it, she murmured. And I kept telling myself around 9:30 p.m. More forgiveness. 3 loud knocks you shattered the silence. I said quietly. Bang, bang, bang. She nodded. Open slow, up. Almost numb. I know you're in there. But she agreed. Mark. Sarah went pale. I gently guided her behind me. There was no peephole, no chain lock, just the deadbolt. James, she whispered. Please don't open it. I won't, I whispered back. Mark banged again. Sarah, open the damn door or I'll. He didn't finish the sentence, but the tone said enough. I took a slow breath and raised my voice just enough to be heard. Mark, go home. You're not coming in. His voice sharpened into something cold. You think this is your call, he snarled. You think you get to hide my wife in some motel like a cheap. Mark, I said firmly. Leave. Silence. Then he tried the handle. It rattled violently. Sarah covered her mouth, trying not to cry. I stepped closer to the door. Walk away, I said again. More silence. Then footsteps. Heavy at first. Then fading. We waited 30 seconds. Minute. I slowly opened the curtain. He was gone. And I realized my hands were shaking that we thought the night was over. We were wrong. Around 11 p.m., when Sarah finally drifted into exhausted sleep, a soft scratchy sound woke me. Piece of paper slid under the door. Picked it up. Mark's handwriting. Planted. Messy. Angry. It read, You want to walk away. Fine. But she doesn't get to take my life with her. You will regret this. Both of you. I folded the note and slipped it into my pocket. I didn't wake Sarah. She deserved at least a few hours of peace. The next morning, Sarah was sitting at the small table, staring at her coffee. She looked hollow. Then her phone buzzed again. But this time it wasn't Mark. It was her coworker Emma. Sarah put the call on speaker. Sarah, listen carefully, Emma whispered urgently. Mark came to the office today. What? He stormed in demanding your client files, your schedules, your login information, everything. Sarah's eyes widened. He said you stole confidential material, and he needed to secure company assets. The HR manager threatened to call security if he didn't calm down. Sarah covered her mouth. Emma continued. He told everyone you ran off with another man. He's telling people you cheated. Sarah, he's losing it. Clenched my jaw. This was spiraling into something darker than we expected. Thank you, Emma, Sarah whispered. I'll call you later. When the call ended, Sarah whispered. He's trying to ruin my life. No, I said slowly. He's trying to punish you for leaving his control. And when men like Mark lose control, they break things. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. James, what do we do now? I exhaled slowly. We fight back. We spent the next hour planning. Not revenge. Not destruction. Protection. Freedom. Truth. First, Sarah called HR and explained everything. They assured her that Mark no longer had any access to files or internal information. Then we contacted a domestic violence counselor who specialized in emotional and psychological abuse. She gave us the exact steps to follow for safety, for documentation, for legal protection. And we agreed on one final step. We would go to our parents. Together. Sarah hesitated. Your parents always take his side. Not this time, I said quietly. They need to know who their son really is. And what about what I've become? She whispered. I looked at her. You've become brave. We drove toward our parents' house. A big white two-story home in an upper-middle-class American neighborhood. The yard was perfectly trimmed. The porch was lined with potted plants. It looked peaceful. Deceivingly peaceful. Sarah squeezed my hand gently. Do you think they'll even listen? She asked. They will, I said. Because we're walking in together. When we walked into the house, Mom was in the kitchen wiping down the counter. Dad was reading the newspaper. Both froze. Dad lowered his paper. James, he said uneasily. And Sarah, are you too? Okay. Mom stared at us like she already knew something terrible had happened. Where's Mark? She asked slowly. And then, the front door flew open. Mark stepped inside. His eyes went straight to us. He pointed. There they are, he snarled. Look at them. Standing there like they're the innocent ones. His voice was loud enough to echo. Mom's face went pale. Mark, your father and I don't understand. There's nothing to understand. Mark exploded. She left me. For him. Sarah flinched. Dad stood up sharply. Mark, that's not true. Sit down. No, Mark shouted. I want everyone to hear what these two have been doing behind my back. Sarah stepped forward. Enough was enough. Mark, she said quietly but firmly. Stop lying. Mark turned crimson. Lying. You two ran off to a motel like trash and now you want to act righteous. Gasped. Dad's jaw tightened. Sarah didn't break eye contact. You pushed me, Mark. Silence. You could have heard a pin drop. You shoved me in the kitchen, Sarah continued. Her voice trembled, but her spine didn't. You screamed at me. You tried to break into the motel. You tried to get me fired. And now you're trying to ruin my name. Mark blinked. He wasn't expecting that. Dad stepped forward, voice low and dangerous. Is that true, Mark? Mark opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. It's not, she's exaggerating, she's being dramatic. Mark! Dad roared. Mark froze. Dad had never raised his voice like that. Did you touch her? Mark swallowed. I didn't mean to. But Dad didn't wait for the rest. He sank into his chair, like something inside him broke. Mom put her hand over her mouth and whispered, Oh my God! What have you done? Mark's face cracked. This is his fault, he screamed, pointing at me. He poisoned her. He stole my wife. He ruined everything. But no one believed him this time. Not even himself. Not anymore. Sarah stepped next to me. Not behind me. Next to me. And that broke Mark completely. His voice dropped to a trembling whisper. Sarah! She looked at him with sadness, not hatred. I loved you, Mark, she said softly. I waited for you to love me back. But all you ever loved was control. He took one step toward her. She stepped behind me. He froze. Just froze. Because in that single moment, he understood. She felt safer with me than with her own husband. His face twisted. He turned to me. You took everything from me, he whispered. I shook my head. No, Mark. You threw everything away. He stared at us like he didn't recognize who we were. Then he whispered, You're going to regret this. Dad stood up again. No. You are going to get help. Mom guided Sarah into the living room, hugging her tightly, whispering apologies and heartbreak. Dad told Mark to leave until he calmed down. Mark walked toward the door, slow, shaking, furious. But before leaving, he turned back one last time. And the way he looked at me wasn't anger anymore. It was something darker. A warning. "You think this ends here," he whispered. "It doesn't." Then he walked out. The door shut behind him, and the entire house exhaled. Sarah sat on the couch between my parents, crying softly while Mom held her hand. Dad looked at me. "James," he said quietly, "you did the right thing." Those words I never expected to hear. But before I could respond, Mom said, "Sarah isn't going back to that house. She stays here. With us. With you." Sarah looked at me with tired, hopeful eyes. And for the first time in years, my family finally saw the truth. But deep down I knew. Mark was not finished. Not even close. Asterisk asterisk. This was only the beginning of his unraveling. And the beginning of something bigger between Sarah and me. The very next morning, the tension was palpable. We were still at my parents' house, trying to find a sense of calm after the previous night's eruption. Then the phone rang. It was Mark's lawyer. Sarah picked it up, hands trembling. "Hello," she whispered. The voice on the other end was cold and clipped. "Sarah, this is Daniel Kessler, attorney for your husband, Mark. You are hereby notified that he has filed for emergency injunctions against you regarding the marital residence, access to financial accounts, and client files at work. You are to respond immediately, or legal consequences will follow." Her face went pale. I can't believe this," she muttered. I took a deep breath and grabbed the phone. "Daniel, this is James. I'm representing Sarah as well now. We will respond properly and legally, but any further intimidation attempts will be documented and reported." There was a pause. "Noted," he said curtly. Click. Sarah dropped the phone and buried her face in her hands. "He's insane," she whispered. I knelt beside her. "Yes," I said calmly. "And that's exactly why we're going to handle this the right way. Not through fear. Through facts." Over the next few days, Sarah and I worked with a domestic lawyer and a private investigator. We compiled everything. Witness accounts from co-workers who saw Mark's rage. Security footage from the motel. Text messages, voicemails, and threats. Angela's testimony about the initial recordings. Each piece told the same story. Mark wasn't a victim. He was the aggressor. And finally, we discovered something worse. Mark had been siphoning money from Sarah's accounts. Small amounts at first. Unnoticeable. But over the years, it added up. Thousands. Sarah's jaw dropped when she saw the bank statements. "He's been stealing from me all this time," she whispered. "Yes," I said firmly. "And now we can prove it." Her hands trembled as she typed emails, called banks, and documented every detail. For the first time, fear was replaced with purpose. Court dates were set. Mark, predictably, showed up dressed in a designer suit, the picture of arrogant composure. Sarah and I walked in together, calm, collected, documents in hand. The judge, a woman in her early 50s with sharp eyes, listened to both sides. Mark tried to paint Sarah as unstable, reckless, and manipulative. But we had evidence. Every lie was countered with documents, screenshots, recordings, and witness statements. By the end of the hearing, the judge granted full protective orders for Sarah, exclusive access to her finances, temporary custody over their shared assets and sensitive work files. Mark was visibly stunned. "You'll regret this," he whispered through gritted teeth as we left the courtroom. I didn't respond. We had done our job. The law was on our side. That night, after the courtroom chaos, Sarah and I sat on the porch of my parents' house. She took a deep breath. "James, I don't think I've ever really thanked you," she whispered. "You don't have to," I said softly. "No, I do," she insisted. "For standing by me, for believing me, for not letting him break me completely." I reached for her hand. "You were never broken," I said. "You just needed someone to remind you of that." She looked at me, eyes glistening. I think I finally understand what love really is," she said quietly. My chest tightened. "Then maybe it's time we stop running," I whispered. Her lips curved into a small, tired smile. Maybe it is. Despite the legal victory, Mark didn't give up. He tried to spread rumors at Sarah's workplace, contacted mutual friends, and even attempted to bribe a coworker to lie on his behalf. But each attempt failed. Every lie was documented. Every action he took added more fuel to the legal fire against him. By the end of the week, Mark's reputation was in tatters. The golden image he had maintained for years crumbled under the weight of his own lies. Sarah's confidence grew. "I feel free," she said one evening, sipping coffee on the porch. "You are," I said. "And so are we." Months later, my parents invited both Sarah and Mark to a family gathering. Mark arrived, attempting to mask his tension with forced smiles. Sarah and I walked in together, confident, strong. The moment was electric. Mark's eyes flicked to us, then to the family, then back. He tried to make a scene, tried to belittle Sarah in front of everyone. But the truth was out. Every family member, every friend, every witness knew the reality of his behavior. He was powerless. And in that moment I realized something. Revenge isn't about hurting someone. It's about reclaiming your life. Mark stormed out mid-event, red-faced and defeated. We watched him leave. Sarah leaned on me. "It's really over this time," she whispered. "Yes," I said. And it truly felt that way. With Mark finally gone from our lives, Sarah and I could breathe. We didn't rush anything. We took small steps, quiet dinners, evening walks, rebuilding trust. One night we sat on the porch looking at the stars. "James," she said softly, "I don't know what the future holds, but I do know I want it with you." I smiled, pulling her closer. "And I want it with you, Sarah. Always." For the first time in years I felt true peace. Not just because Mark was out of our lives, but because we survived. Together. And that was worth more than any revenge. Mark was gone. Not physically, he was still out there somewhere, but his grip on our lives was broken. Sarah and I finally had space to breathe. Our mornings began without tension. Our nights no longer ended in fear. Our lives were ours again. And yet, there was a strange quietness, like the eye of a storm. We knew the storm wasn't fully gone, but we were ready to rebuild. Sarah went back to work, but this time she had full control over her professional life. No more Mark. No more threats. No more lies. She started taking on bigger projects, gaining recognition she had been denied for years. And everywhere she went, whispers of Mark's manipulations followed, but now in our favor. "I feel like I can finally breathe," she said one afternoon as we walked through a city park. I squeezed her hand. "You can. And you will. Forever." Mark tried one last desperate move. He sued Sarah for defamation and claimed his financial ruin was our fault. But by then, we had a mountain of evidence. His threats, his abuse, his embezzlement, witness testimonies from colleagues, friends, and family. The court ruled decisively in our favor. Mark lost almost everything he owned. His reputation in tatters. And for the first time he was truly powerless. When we heard the verdict, Sarah and I held each other and cried. Not out of joy, not out of revenge, but relief. Finally, my parents were nervous when we first returned home after the trial. Would they still favor Mark? Would they blame us? But something miraculous happened. Mom hugged Sarah tightly, tears running down her face. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "For everything. For believing him over you. For making you feel unsafe in your own life." Dad nodded, voice trembling. "You were brave, and I was blind." Sarah smiled through her tears. "It's okay," she said softly. "It's over now." And in that moment, our family finally started healing that we never invited Mark back. But one evening, unexpectedly, he showed up at my parents' front door. He looked smaller, weaker, broken in a way that years of arrogance had never prepared him for. He spoke quietly, almost shamefully. "I see now. I was wrong. Hurt you. I hurt everyone I loved." Sarah and I exchanged a glance. Do we forgive him? Do we walk away? Mom stepped forward, speaking with the strength of years of disappointment and hope. You need help, Mark. Not revenge. Not manipulation. Help. He nodded slowly. I'll get help, he said. And that was the last time we saw him trying to control our lives. Months passed. Sarah and I moved into a small home together. Quiet streets, maple trees, a backyard where we could sit and drink coffee in the morning sun. We didn't rush. We didn't push. We rebuilt slowly. We laughed again. We fought occasionally, but it was healthy, real. We loved without fear. One day, sitting on our porch, Sarah looked at me with a smile I hadn't seen in years. Do you ever think about what could have happened if we hadn't stood up to him? I shrugged and smiled. Honestly, I don't want to imagine it. She laughed, a light, free laugh. And for the first time in years, I felt truly free too. Revenge had been satisfying, but it wasn't what healed us. The truth healed us. Courage healed us. Standing together healed us. And most importantly, we learned that sometimes the greatest power is not in fighting someone else, but in reclaiming your life. Years later, Sarah and I would look back at everything that happened. The lies, the manipulation, the threats, the legal battles, and we would smile. Not because we enjoyed the revenge, but because we survived it. We rebuilt our lives. We loved fully. We finally had peace. And as we watched the sun set behind our small home, hand in hand, we knew the past could no longer touch us. The future was ours. And that, finally, was the justice we had truly been seeking.